Hey there, 5th grade. I just wanted to give you a little review on factor puzzles for workbook 108. And I think they might pop up another time or two this year. If not, they definitely will be so useful next year. So this year they're just more of a fun, like get your brains, thinking, and basically what we're doing is taking a hundreds chart of multiplication and selecting 2 rows and 2 columns and pulling some numbers out of it to get those 3, and then the 4th one is what would line up on that chart. So it's pretty cool. It kind of is like mind-blowing news once you look it up and realize how that works. But this is going to be a key in helping you very, very quickly solve math problems that would otherwise take you quite a while in 6th grade. Okay, so these are excellent practice to set you up for success next year. Okay. So the reason they're called factor puzzles is because you want to find common factors of each row and each column. Okay, so here I have a 20 and a 15. One ends with the 0, one ends with the 5. So I'm gonna try the 5 factor. I know it goes into both of them. Sometimes you'll find a factor that works across or up and down. That doesn't work the other way. So you just have to be careful and just know that if it doesn't quite work one way, don't get frustrated. It's easy to say, right? Because then there must be another option that works for both ways for that number, okay? 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, so 4, we're in the 4th column. Those numbers have to be the same or it won't work. We're in the 5th row here, okay? So if you go to the 5th row and the 4th column of a multiplication chart, you'd find 20. If you go to the 4th row and the 4th column and the 2nd row of a multiplication chart, you would find 8. Up here, we've got to fill that in 5 times. This is going to be in the 3rd column, which means this number will fall in the 3rd column as well. And our answer here is 6. Ta-da! Okay, let's try this one. So I have 8, 14, and 21. Well, 7 I know goes into both of those. Double the 7 to get 14. That's the 2nd column. 7 goes into 21. Whoopsie, 3 times, so that's a 3. 2 times 4. Okay, and I end up with 12. Ta-da! All right, I will solve. I'll solve one more for you just to give you a little practice here. Okay, I know that these two are factors of, multiples of 9, which means that 9 is a factor of both of those. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep plugging along, and if I ran into a snafu of sorts, some troubles, then I would know, ooh, that doesn't work, I'm gonna have to try a different factor, okay? So 7 goes up there, so each, column and row has to have the same number. So here, my factor answer is 35. Sweet, we got it. We got it. Okay, and I did just want to give you a little review for numbers 9, 10, and 11. Okay, perimeter, you have a plain label, right? Area, you square the label because it's telling me how many squares of that size fit inside the shape. Now, be careful, okay? So for perimeter, you don't necessarily need all these numbers. For area, you don't necessarily need all these numbers. What in the world do I mean by that? Well, perimeter goes around and round, add up all the sides, and you write your answer down. Hey, so you have a 7, 8, 8. 10 is pointing to the height of this triangle, right? So if I added up 4 numbers, that wouldn't make sense because a triangle does not have 4 sides. You add up all the sides and then you write your answer down. Not any numbers floating in the middle, right? Okay, so I would add 7, 8, and 8, get my answer, label it centimeters, plain label for perimeter, okay? Whereas for your area, you take the base times the height, split it in half because a triangle is half of a parallelogram, okay? So I have 7 times 10, which is 70, and normally I would write out my work, but I'm trying to stay neat for you guys so it's not crazy. So base times height gives me 70, 7 times 10. We need to divide that in half, or divide that by 2, split it in half, to find the area of this shape. If I leave it as 70, that is incorrect because that would be this shape, which is not a triangle, right? That's a rhombus of sorts. So if I split 70 in half, I get 35. I'm going to label it centimeters, and I'm going to square the centimeters because I need to be able to tell you, like, hey, that's how many squares are in that shape, right? Another way you can do this, I just want to show you real quick because I did not, I mean, for the longest time, 70 divided by 2 is 35. I know that because I've done that problem so much. However, when I was your age, I would have been a little bit scared. I would have had to divide it out the long way. So another thing you can do is look at your base and your height. If one of them's even, you can chop that number in half right away, because if you divide by 2, if you divide something by 2 right away, you don't have to split the whole thing at the end. Okay, and that seems maybe a little silly, but I promise you it works. Okay, so here, base 7 times half of the height, which is 5. 7 times 5, what do you get? You got it, 35. So you get the same answer. You just had a little different way of going about it. Okay, over here on this rhomboid of sorts, a rhombus there, anyway. So perimeter goes around and round. You have a 12, a 4, a 12, and a 4. Don't add that 3 because that's the height of the shape, which is different than the side length here. Okay, just like over here, the height met the base perpendicularly at 90 degrees. Okay, if it's not a right angle for area, it's a wrong angle. So 8 is not the height, it happens to be a side length. Same here, 4 is not the height, it happens to be the side length. Okay, so you can see that this height meets the base at 90 degrees. That is a right angle. Okay, so you're going to add 12 and 12 is 24. Add another 4, that's 28. Add another 4. Our perimeter of this shape would be 32 inches squared. Okay, the area of this shape is not 12 times 4. Why? Because the height is not 4, remember? Okay, very good. So you have 12 times the height is 3. Okay, oh gosh. Okay, I'm struggling here, guys, sorry. 12 times 3 is 36. Okay, so the area of this shape would be 36 inches squared.